This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from December 19th to December 21st of 2025. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now listen, this is the last US Men's National Team Abroad episode of 2025. And you might be saying, this is not the last Monday. What are you going to do next Monday? Well, next Monday, we're going to have a different episode to close the year, a very special episode, one might argue the best episode of 2025, and you may be wondering, what is it? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to wait and see. So yes, during the winter break, Christmas and New Year's, we're going to upload a little bit less. We're still going to have content, but we're just going to have less content so we can get ready for 2026, which will be the biggest year in the history of this YouTube channel. And for that reason, I'd like to tell you early Merry Christmas. And before we even start this episode, I have a question for you, and you can answer in the comment section down below. If you could ask Santa for one player, one active player right now to join the US Men's National Team from the World Cup from any nationality, who would you pick and why? Okay, with that said, don't forget to drop a like in this video. If you haven't already, do it right now. It takes a second and it's free. And also, this video is brought to you by Umbro. They have great deals, so if you want to buy a Christmas gift, use the link in the description of this video and our promo code to get 20% off. They have some very affordable jerseys that are beautiful from El Salvador, Guatemala, some very exotic national teams, so go check it out. With that said, roll the intro, start the episode. As always, we start with the top 5 leagues in Europe, the first one being the Italian Serie A. So we talk about the Americans that play in Italy. The first one being Christian Pulisic from Milan. So Pulisic didn't play this weekend because Milan had a game on Thursday. That was the Supercoppa Italiana semifinals against Napoli, and they lost. If they had won, they would have played the final on Monday. Now, in terms of his performance, Pulisic was bad. He had a very poor performance. And you may be saying, if you watch the game, well, Milan was crap. And you're right, but I don't report on Milan. And regardless of how Milan played, Pulisic was very bad this game, right? It was one of those rare poor performances from Pulisic. He normally has like 3 or 4 a season, and that was one of them. Yes, he was not good. Next up, we have Weston Mckennie from Juventus. And on Saturday, Mckennie started and played the full 90 minutes for Juve during their big 2-1 win over Roma. And this was Weston McKennie's 200th game for Juventus. You heard that right. He already has 200 appearances for Juve. As for the game, Roma had most of the ball possession, and honestly, Mckennie did not have as many touches as I would like for him to have. He did mainly play out wide as a right wing back. And listen, he did play his role throughout the game. He had an okay performance. He was fine. But he found a way to directly impact the game and help Juventus get the 3 points. Mckennie got the assist for the second goal scored by Juventus, and he pretty much gave his teammate the goal. It was a tap-in. Weston McKennie won the header in the box and hit the target. The goalkeeper saved it, and McKennie got the rebound. Now, instead of scoring off the rebound, he passed it to his teammate for an easy tap-in. And honestly, that was a very smart decision from Weston McKennie. If he tried to shoot that, there was a slight chance the goalkeeper could have blocked it. But McKennie was smart. He saw it and he's like, I can score the goal, which I could waste this opportunity. The goalkeeper was very close to him, so he could maybe block the shot. Or I can just give my teammate the goal. And that's what he did. And look at this. According to Opta Jack, McKennie now has 21 assists for Juventus. Only Juan Cuadrado, with 26, has more for the club since McKennie made his debut in September of 2020. You heard that right. Ever since Weston McKennie joined Juventus, only Juan Cuadrado got more assists than Weston McKennie, which is crazy. And this is the same Weston McKennie that Juventus tries to get rid of every summer. Ungrateful pricks. Next up, we have Yunus Musa from Atalanta. And let me tell you, someone acquired all of the Dragon Balls, because that someone brought Yunus Musa back to life. Because on Sunday, Musa started and played the full 90 minutes. Yes, you heard that right. He started and played the full game for Atalanta during their 1-0 away win against Genoa. And I actually thought Yunus Musa played well. A little bit in the midfield, in a double pivot, and some minutes out wide. He wasn't really a standout, but he was rock solid, and he helped them get the 3 points. I'm very critical of Musa. His performances haven't been great. However, performances like this one can get him back with the US men's national team if he can consistently play like this, which that remains to be determined. Last but not least, in Italy, we would have had Ben Cremaschi from Parma, but they didn't play this weekend, so I got no news there. He didn't play, even though he usually doesn't play anyway. Okay, time to leave Italy and go to England so we can talk about the Americans in the Premier League. The first one being Chris Richards from Crystal Palace and Brendan Aronson from Leeds because they clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, Chris Richards started and played the full 90 minutes for Crystal Palace during their 4-1 loss to Leeds. Now, Brendan Aronson, he started for Leeds and played 77 minutes during their big 4-1 win against Crystal Palace. And due to the result, most people might think, well, Chris Richards was crap and Brendan Aronson was probably quite good. And actually, they both weren't good. Aronson was just hustling, as always, right? He didn't really offer much despite Leeds getting this 4-1 win. It's weird that in a 4-1 win, he wasn't able to be a standout performer with his team, but he really wasn't. Like, he wasn't bad, it's just ineffective. It was just Brendan Aronson. As for Chris Richards, the result kind of speaks for itself. One of the goals was 100% on Richards, where he failed to clear the ball with a header. He kind of flicked it back into his own box, making it a very easy finish for the Leeds player to score. I also thought at the Leeds third goal, if I'm not mistaken, when Brendan Aronson headed it back into the box, Chris Richards and a few other Crystal Palace players should have done better to clear it, and they didn't. And I think it was the second goal where Chris Richards was caught in no man's land and someone scored. I know the guy that scored wasn't really his man, but I don't know, just very bad defending from him and the entire Crystal Palace defense. It was just a bad game from Chris Richards and just not a good game from Brendan Aronson. Next up would have been Anthony Robinson from Fulham, and he plays on Monday. He's healthy. He even got an assist for them a few days ago. He played 2 games in a row. He's looking good. He's looking sharp, but he plays on Monday, so I got no reports on him for this weekend because we record this on Sunday night. Now, let's talk about, I guess, bad news. Or I guess it kind of is bad news because it's an injury, but it's not that bad because it could have been worse. And it's the update on Tyler Adams. As you may know, Tyler Adams injured his knee last weekend. And the main concern was that if it was an ACL injury, he would have been done for the World Cup. However, it's not an ACL injury. He has a torn MCL, and it seems like he's going to be out for 2 to 3 months, which means he should be back by March. So he should be available for the World Cup as long as he has no setbacks. Now, I am concerned because historically, Tyler Adams usually does have a few setbacks. Yeah, he's not like Weston McKennie that gets injured and they tell you Mckennie will be back in a month and then he's back in 2 weeks. Usually Tyler Adams, if they tell you he's going to be back in 2 to 3 months, that means he might take 4 months. Now, hopefully he takes this recovery seriously. He recovers quickly as well, and he doesn't rush things to come back, right? Come back around March, April, and be healthy for the World Cup, which is what matters. Now, before we continue, I want to give a quick shout out to Umbro. We're Umbro ambassadors, and the link and promo code in the description will give you 20% off any Umbro product in their website. And they have a lot of great deals at the end of the year. So if you want to buy a Christmas gift or anything for your family and friends, go check out the Umbro website. They even have some beautiful jerseys for like $30, $40, and you can still get 20% off if you use the link in the description and our promo code. But remember, you got to use both, the link and the promo code, and keep in mind that you can use it multiple times. So go check it out. It's all in the description of this video, and in the process, you'll be helping the channel. Next up, we have the Americans in Germany in the Bundesliga. Now, before we talk about them, make sure you drop a like in this video if you haven't already. Help us hit 1,000 likes, and if you haven't commented anything, comment something to rig the YouTube algorithm. Now, let's talk about Malik Tillman from Bayer Leverkusen. And on Saturday, Tillman started and played the full 90 minutes for Leverkusen during their 3-1 win over RB Leipzig. Now, Tillman played a bit deeper this game. He wasn't really an attacking midfielder. He was more of a central midfielder in a double pivot, sometimes even looking like a defensive midfielder. And I thought he played well. He helped make things happen in the midfield. He got a lot of touches. And overall, I thought he did fine on defense, even though he's not really an aggressive defender. Let's put it this way. He played an important role in a 3-1 win against RB Leipzig. That's a very good Bundesliga side. Now, since he was playing deeper, he mostly played it safe on the ball, so it may seem like he didn't really do much throughout the game, but that ain't true. He got a lot of touches and he was quite important in that midfield. But the big story here is Montrell Kobreth, the 18-year-old German-American, I hope I pronounced his name right, that came off the bench and scored a very nice goal. He won the ball in the midfield. He ran 30 to 40 yards with it to score on a 1v1 to goalkeeper in his Bundesliga debut. Montrell is provisionally cap tied to Germany, but he could file a one-time switch, and he is eligible to represent the US men's national team. Montrell Kobreth. I think I pronounced it right. Next up, we have Joe Scally and Giovanni Reyna from Borussia Mönchengladbach. And on Friday, Joe Scally and Gio Reyna both started for Gladbach during their 2-0 loss to Borussia Dortmund. Now, Scally played the full 90 minutes and Gio Reyna was subbed out around the 65th minute. And this was supposed to be Gio Reyna's revenge game. And I was very excited for it. And we didn't really get anything. We got nothing. The last time I was this disappointed was when Star Wars The Last Jedi came out, which I expected a lot from it, and it was complete crap. The other time I was this disappointed was in the 2000s when the Backstreet Boys just split. They broke up. I don't have much to say about Gio Reyna and Scally's performance. Gio wasn't terrible. He created one good goal-scoring opportunity, but besides that, he was just kind of there. That's it. I was hoping he would get a goal, an assist, and maybe lead Gladbach to glory against Dortmund, his former club. But it wasn't good. Sure, Gladbach ain't great, but whatever. So now let's talk about Noah Kai Banks from Augsburg. And on Saturday, Noah Kai Banks started and played the full 90 minutes for Augsburg during their 0-0 draw with Werder Bremen. Banks had another solid game. One could even argue it was actually a very good game, the second one in a row. And it's safe to say that now he is a locked-in starter for Augsburg in the Bundesliga. He's probably our second best ball-playing defender, only behind Tim Ream. By ball-playing defender, I mean on the ball, right, in possession. Our best center back is obviously Chris Richards, and it's not even close right now. And it's reaching a point where it would be complete nonsense for Mauricio Pochettino not to give Noah Kai Banks a few minutes, not just a roster spot, but a few minutes in March, to possibly take him to the World Cup as a backup. How many good Bundesliga performances does Noah Kai Banks need to get a call-up and get minutes ahead of Miles Robinson, Austin Trusty, Tristan Blackman got more minutes than Noah Kai Banks over the past year with the US men's national team. Actually, Noah Kai Banks got called in, but he never played a single minute yet. And that's it for the Americans in Germany. Let's go to Spain. And then we have their Johnny Cardoso from Atletico Madrid. And Johnny stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Atletico Madrid once again this weekend. I'm hoping that in 2026, his minutes will start to trend up. Otherwise, it's going to be tough for him to make it to the World Cup. But the big news in Spain this weekend is that Pellegrino Materazzo, the American coach that coached a few seasons in the Bundesliga, will be the new head coach of Real Sociedad. And Pellegrino Materazzo is now the first American to coach in La Liga. Now, we're not going to cover him every single weekend because we're not going to watch Real Sociedad every single weekend, but we will keep track of him. And I'll update you guys occasionally, at least once a month, of how he's doing there. Hopefully he does well. Now let's go to France. Now, Liga, the French league, they are on break until New Year's, until after New Year's. So the games they played this weekend were for the French Cup. So every game I talk about here is the French Cup. And the first player we're going to talk about is Florin Balogun from Monaco. And on Sunday, Balogun started and played the full 90 minutes for Monaco during their 2-1 win over Auxerre in the French Cup. Now, Balogun was actually quite wasteful this game. He should have ended it with at least one goal. Honestly, with the amount of chances he had, he probably should have had two. Also, keep in mind, he kept losing the ball multiple times every time he tried to dribble past an opponent. So he was heavily involved in the game. And I'm a big fan of Balogun. But I'll say this. He has to do better. He should have scored at least one goal this game. And even if he scored one goal, I still would have said that he was wasteful. Probably should have had a brace. Maybe a hat trick. Okay, hat trick might have been too much. Next up, we have Tim Weah from Olympique Marseille. And on Sunday, Weah started and played the full 90 minutes for Marseille during their big 6-0 win over Bourg en Bresse. Peronas. Yes, that is the name of the team that he faced. I don't even know if that's a professional team. What I do know is that is most certainly a very interesting name for a soccer club. Next up, we have Marc Mckennie from Toulouse. And on Saturday, Mckennie started and played the full 90 minutes as the captain of Toulouse during their 2-1 win over Lyon La Duchère, which is not the Lyon that you're used to, the one in Liga. It's some other Lyon that plays in the 3rd division of France. Last but not least in France, we have Tenor Tessmann from the actual Lyon. And on Sunday, Tessmann was back from injury and he started off the bench and was subbed in the final 10 minutes for Lyon during their 3-0 win over another French team with a super Frenchy French name that I cannot pronounce, and I'm actually not going to try to do so. Once you leave Liga, there are some very Frenchy names in the 2nd division, 3rd division. Don't even get me started with the 4th division. So let's leave France and go to the Eredivisie so we can talk about the Americans that play there. Actually, just the Americans that play for PSV. Ricardo Pepi and Serginho Dest. And on Sunday, Pepi and Dest both started for PSV during their 2-1 win over Utrecht, a comeback 2-1 win. So Pepi was subbed out around the 89th minute because PSV's center back got a red card. They had a 2-1 lead by then, so it made sense to sub out Pepi to hold on to that lead. Otherwise, Ricardo Pepi probably would have played the full game. As for Serginho Dest, he played the full 90 minutes. And both Americans were crucial for this 2-1 win. The same way you are crucial to help this channel, right? You're crucial for the success of this channel by hitting the like button and dropping that random comment. Just say Happy New Year's or something. PSV was down 1-0 at halftime and Pepi scored early in the second half to tie the game. And the goal was assisted by Serginho Dest. Dest got the ball down the right flank and he delivered a perfect low cross for Pepi to score off one hit. A classic Ricardo Pepi goal. He finishes those chances. That goal tied the game and led PSV to this comeback win. Now, the interesting thing was that was the only shot that Pepi had all game long. Not on target, just only shot in general. He was struggling to get his chances, but he scored when it mattered. He was efficient, he was effective, and it was a crucial goal. Pepi now has 5 goals over the past 6 games for PSV. That's 7 goals total this season in 690 minutes played. He's essentially averaging 1 goal every 90 to 95 minutes. That is amazing. And that guy is our backup center forward, which means that's a position that we actually have depth, right? You have Balogun, you have Pepi, you have Haji Wright that plays for the top team in the EFL Championship. So for the center forward position, we actually have decent depth. Now let's go to England and talk about the Americans in the 2nd division of England, the EFL Championship. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. He's still not available due to a concussion. So let's talk about Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji Wright started and played 82 minutes for Coventry during their 1-1 draw with Southampton. We're almost halfway through the season and Coventry leads the league comfortably. And it's looking very likely that they will get promoted. Now, they played Southampton and I didn't see Damian Downs. What the heck happened to Damian Downs? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I don't care to look it up. Next up would have been Aidan Morris from Middlesbrough. He was not available for them this weekend. He's still injured and he's actually not expected to be back till mid-January. So Aidan Morris is not available, even though the year is kind of over. So mid-January is 2 to 3 weeks. So last but not least, we have Ajiman from Derby County. And on Saturday, Ajiman started and played the full 90 minutes for Derby during their 1-1 draw with Portsmouth. Now, Ajiman didn't score the goal for Derby. It was an own goal, but he kind of caused it in a weird way. It was a low cross where he was falling down, which is his specialty, with the defender, which led to the defender hitting the ball against his own net. So this is the first time that I've seen Ajiman do well or do something with his inability to stay on his feet. And he won't get credit for it, but Ajiman kind of scored a goal. That goal does not happen without Ajiman. Okay, everyone. And my player of the weekend, my USMNT Abroad player of the weekend is Ricardo Pepi, because he opened the door for the PSV comeback. I was kind of in between him and Mckennie, because Mckennie played a crucial role on Roma actually getting defeated by Juventus. But Pepi scored a goal that essentially got PSV a very important win in the Eredivisie. So my player of the weekend is Ricardo Pepi. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to use the Umbro link and promo code in the description if you want to buy any Umbro product. They have great deals right now, so go at least check it out, okay? Thank you very much for watching. Drop a like before you go. Actually not happy, Merry Christmas, because I won't see any of you during Christmas. We have a good episode coming out next Monday, and that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.